Hello. Hi. Hi,
Hi.
everybody. Hey, Valisa. This is
Hi.
our weekly Mom Live. We have an awesome guest this week, Leigh Anne O'Connor.
Hello.
Hello. Who happens to be my neighbor. We discovered each other online, and Leigh Anne's a lactation consultant. So we already got some tweets from people with questions for a lactation consultant.
I could answer questions all day long about lactation and all that good
Just
stuff.
laughable lactation.
Yes, laughable lactation.
So this is a good question because I want to know this.
Okay.
I only have one kid so far, and it hurt a lot when I started nursing him.
Yeah.
And I wasn't prepared for that at all. Valisa, was it painful for you when you first started?
It was very, very painful. I almost gave up. And then I did one last final try, and it worked, and it didn't hurt anymore. So I guess I just was doing it wrong in the beginning.
Right. So that's kind of my question, because I'd like to have another, and I'm hoping that this won't happen again. Does it always hurt at first?
It doesn't always hurt. It frequently hurts at first. It shouldn't. And everybody says it shouldn't, but often it does.
Yeah.
And there are reasons that it does. Oh my goodness. The list, it would take me an hour and a half to tell you the list, but I'll try to be brief.
Okay. General overview.
General. So one of the things is we didn't grow up in a society where we're all hanging around watching everybody breastfeed. And so we live in a society where there's a lot of products. So people have all these products and these things to put the baby on. And if you put the baby on a thing and not on you, it puts the baby away from you. And so your nipple is going to be like being dragged down to the pillow, right?
That sounds painful.
Yeah. So there's that. We don't understand, and we also don't trust babies. Babies are smart. They're really smart, so we don't trust them. So we smash their head into your nipple, and that makes them kind of scared.
Yeah.
And makes them kind of, it makes their latch wrong.
They become like a wild animal.
They do. So if we give them a little space and let them be on our body, sometimes that helps. If we try too hard.
Right.
We're working too hard for something like, that shouldn't take that much work. A very, very common thing is when a baby is tongue-tied.
Yeah.
That's not when they're like that.
Right.
Kind of.
Well, they can't talk yet, so we don't know.
Don't tell them that. They think they can. Anyway, when there's a little attachment under their tongue that it's tethering their tongue to the floor of their mouth, and then they can't stick their tongue out and they talk like that.
Yeah, and
so then their gums are on you, and they're chomping. They can be chompers. There's also birth. If we have a complicated birth, sometimes that makes the baby uncomfortable. It makes the muscles in their face and their neck uncomfortable.
Oh, wow.
And so there's tension, and they're chomping. So it becomes this, a tense,
chompy baby needs to breastfeed.
It does.
So we need to relax our babies.
We need to massage our baby.
Spa.
Yeah, baby spa. Bring them to the baby spa.
Right.
Which really, do you know where the baby spa is? Right here.
Oh,
right
that's
here.
a nice way to put it.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but that is the baby spa.
That is. Yeah. I didn't think I would like breastfeeding. Like I thought it would be a thing I would dutifully do. Like this is the best for the baby, and then And then once the pain part was over, I loved it.
It's cool.
I love it for so many reasons.
Why do you love it?
Well, besides my practical reasons, like it was the cheapest, it was the most convenient. I didn't never have to remember anything because it was always here.
This woman's lazy. I didn't want to wash anything.
Yeah,
Washing
no washing,
bottles?
no sterilizing, no mixing, all that. But other than that, like I just loved the bonding. I don't know, a non-corny way of saying this. I love the bonding. I love being my son's main source of whatever.
Nutrition, comfort.
I loved it. So I didn't want to stop. I eventually did because I thought it might be weird if I didn't, but I loved it.
Did you know that it's normal to nurse into preschool, into age 3, 4, that's physiologically, biologically normal?
Well, I later learned that, but
when did it become out of the norm?
Yeah, what made this out of the norm?
Oh my goodness, do we have decades to discuss this? Okay, first of all, I mean, with the introduction of formula, that kind of helped, and it was developed for good reason, for orphans, for the rare woman who didn't, the babies that didn't have a mother who had milk, right? Then the Industrial Revolution, and women were working outside of the home, and then we needed to feed them, and wet nurses weren't considered so cool. We can talk about that.
I think that would be very cool.
I think that, me too. And then convenience foods and science got better than nature. And then the truth is we sexualize the breast. Breast is only for sex. You can't have a baby being sexy.
Right.
That's a problem. But that's where it comes from. And that's what a lot of people get uptight about. It's like, I can't have a baby there. I can't nurse in front of you. I can't.
Totally.
Yeah, but it's just, we're mammals. These are mammary glands.
Mammary glands, people.
Mammary glands.
I don't know, Valisa, how long did you nurse?
Long. 6 months and then 4 months for my second. Because they stopped. They didn't want it anymore, and the milk kind of dried up.
A nursing strike.
They moved on.
A nursing strike. That sounds.
Yeah.
It is. It is official. If a baby that young stops nursing, that's a nursing strike. Either that, or they were getting a lot of bottles that were a lot easier.
Yeah, I've heard that sometimes the baby, it comes out faster in a bottle, right?
Many bottles are super fast.
So the baby is like, this is awesome.
Well, they don't. It's like they don't have to use their muscles, right? So if you were gonna walk uptown or hop on the bus repeatedly, and you kept taking the bus repeatedly, and then one day you went to walk and it hurt your muscles, you'd get on the bus.
Or if someone wanted to just pour this down my throat as opposed to actually drinking it, I would opt for that.
Would you though?
No.
The process. Here's the thing: the process of sipping wine and enjoying it is nice, and babies like that process
That's a
too.
great way of thinking of it.
Yeah, I can always turn any conversation into wine or breastfeeding or both.
Or both, related.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, a lot of people wonder, can you drink while you're breastfeeding? And
well, let me see if I could balance a baby and drink.
Well, yes. I mean, should you? You can, but should you?
It depends on how you're feeling. Are you feeling stressed and you need a drink to calm down so you can nurse this baby? Yeah. The truth is that you can have a glass of wine if you're nursing. It's not taboo, unless it's a problem for you.
Right.
Like you should be.
It would be taboo anyway.
Right. Okay. But generally, we don't have to be this pristine, perfect mother and a perfect, everything. So it's okay. The first time that you have a glass of wine, though, after you've had a baby, most people in the United States have not been drinking during their pregnancy. Right. In Europe, they have, but in this country, we're not. So people are their resistance is low. So you would want to have a little bit of wine. If you do, you want to have it with a meal. You want to be hydrated. You want to, you don't want to go into a bunch of shots.
No. Shots while breastfeeding, that's definitely bad.
No, not a good idea.
I registered these little test strips to test your breast milk to make sure if there was still alcohol in it before you fed the baby, and I never used it.
There are so many products out there. I actually wrote a blog post on my blog called What to Reject When You're Expecting.
That's a great title.
Because there are so many things that people will tell you that you need that you don't need. You don't need that much stuff when you have a baby.
You really don't. V, do you have a thing that you thought you needed but you don't need? Anything of kind?
I think there's a lot of products that I have that I never used, and they're like brand new, never opened. Like just little potions and lotions and whatnot. But yeah, there are a few.
Speaking of potions and lotions, did you know that your breasts have these little dots on the areola called Montgomery's glands?
No, I did not.
Well, see, I'm just a wealth of breast information.
Look at this.
So
I just called them the little dots.
The little dots.
Yeah, I know.
They're called Montgomery's glands, and they emit or secrete this substance that's sort of like an emollient, sort of moisturizing, but it also has this fragrance that draws the baby to you, so the baby knows where his food source is.
Yeah.
And so that's a cool thing. And if you do have sore nipples, you don't have to go out and buy something. You could squeeze a little of your milk onto your nipple.
Nice.
And that it has healing properties. Did you know? What's that?
What is the gland called?
Montgomery's glands, like Elizabeth Montgomery, Bewitched. So it's kind of magical.
And another way to save money.
Another way to save money.
Don't
yes.
buy nipple cream.
Yes, don't buy nipple cream. You don't need it.
Yeah. So somebody asked us this question, and the children are all safely tucked away, so we can now talk about the sex. Sex? Does breastfeeding generally help or hurt one's sex life? What do you think?
Well, it's interesting because people get very funny. Again, these are like, it doesn't hurt if you are comfortable with your body.
Yeah.
If you feel good about your body, I don't understand why it would hurt your sex life. In fact, another blog post I wrote, if I may talk about that, what's her name? Erica Jong wrote this article, this essay about how attachment parenting ruins marriages.
Oh my.
Did you read this?
No.
Well, she's
I've
like,
heard
oh
that.
yes, the mother loves her baby more than her
Right.
husband. And I just sat down when I read it, and I sat down and just spilled my heart out, and I said, Erica, that is not true. That there was a problem with that marriage anyway. And I said, sometimes when you have a baby, you could be laying there like with your baby nearby and being in the throes of passionate lovemaking, and the baby wakes up.
Right.
So then you have to pause, hit the pause button, roll over, latch the baby on, get the baby to sleep, and go back to being the goddess, you know?
Right.
And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can, you know, I think if you have an intimate relationship with your partner,
right,
and you create an intimacy with your family, and intimacy and sexuality are not the same thing, then I think it enhances you and your life.
Yeah. I think it makes a woman seem more powerful and your body more magical. And, you know, if you're embarrassed because you leak when you're in bed or something, then just laugh about it.
You
it's
have
funny.
a sense of humor.
No big deal. Maybe, I don't know. What do you think, Valisa?
Ever leak during
sex?
No comment.
Yeah. Valisa's husband is not always so happy with the questions I ask, I suspect. Yeah. Anyhow, I think that it's an awesome thing either way. I don't think it hurts, and it might help.
What I will say is that some mothers, especially in the early weeks, can feel touched out, and they feel like they've gotten enough touch.
Yeah.
So please don't judge me. But that's a little bit different. That's just sort of like being overwhelmed mother. And so finding ways, and this is where partners can say, can I take the baby for you while you go take a shower, while you enjoy your dinner that I prepared for you?
That is sexy.
That is
Dude,
sexy.
if any of you are watching. That's total. I love that term, touched out, and I tried to use it to explain when I felt that way. I don't know. It's so intense when you have a newborn, and like you're always your body is being used all the time.
And sometimes it is too much touch. And the other thing is sometimes you get all that touch that you need.
Right.
That this other person's over there going, y'all are touching each other. What about me?
I know. Yeah. It's something I would try to be more conscious of next time.
I used to love to not love. I figured out my husband loves when I rub his head and scratch his head.
Yeah.
And sometimes if I was just kind of feeling touched out, I might just scratch his head, and that would just
helps.
touch him. And
Yeah.
touch means and helps so much. It's so healing.
It is. And
I hope you don't mind me touching you.
I love you touching me. It's wonderful. We've hardly drank any wine.
Screen.
Oh yes, touch us from borough to borough, from Manhattan to Brooklyn. Let's see. So, this is a fun fact I heard. You can tell me if this is true or not. I heard that about 3/4 of moms are righties. Like their right breast produces more milk than their left. Do you think that's true?
I don't know if that's true. I don't know. And it's very interesting because in this day and age, everybody has their stuff, and a lot of people start pumping. So if you start stimulating yourself equally right away, sometimes we are a little more equal. But here's what's interesting. Our breasts have storage capacity. So if, in the case of some of us, like me, when I remember being in high school and having this discussion with my friends about how one of our breasts filled the cup more than the other, and that's the breast that ended up, my right breast, as a matter of fact, ended up making more milk. It filled up the cup more when I was 16, and it made more milk. But it's how big is our storage capacity.
Yeah. I mean,
so I don't know if that's exactly true, but that makes sense.
Yeah, bodies aren't symmetrical necessarily. And then here's another fun fact I learned.
Okay.
Apparently, breast milk is more valuable than oil as far as monetary value.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. I don't know the latest.
Yeah, I mean, I've never bought any or sold any, but apparently people do, and it's like what 260 times more expensive than oil.
Well, it's 260 times better than oil.
Totally. Wouldn't you rather drink breast milk than oil? I would. And it has all these wonderful properties. But now I did use a little bit of formula, and something that bothers me about this whole discussion is like the major amount of judgment on either side about whether you breastfeed or formula feed. I mean, I think breast is generally better for all the reasons we said, but like formula isn't evil.
It's not evil. It has its place.
Yeah. And
so I really think the media kind of pushes these mommy wars, because I think, and so the other thing is, I think the first time you're a mother and it's so new and so raw, whatever you're doing, you're going to own, like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
So
it makes you feel empowered to be like, I'm doing it right.
Well, it's almost like that, protecting your family. Right. So whatever I'm doing is good. Right. It's good. What you're doing is not good. And don't say what and it's very primal. And when you're a first time mother, everything is so raw. Even if you have 2 or 3 or 10 kids, when you're a new mother, like that new baby, you're very raw and emotional. So it's very interesting, and I try not to judge people. Yeah. Because I haven't walked in their shoes. I don't know what their history is. I don't know what.
I feel like there's no right way or no wrong way. It's whatever works for you is a good way to go with.
For sure. Yeah. There are some women who become very, very disappointed that their bodies fail them if they don't make enough milk. Right. And so there's got to be healing and support around that. And then we were talking about wet nurses. Some babies really don't tolerate formula. I have met many babies around the world who don't, not around the world, but around my life.
Around Manhattan.
Around New York. That really just did not tolerate formula. There was a woman I know who adopted a baby, and she made about 7 ounces herself.
I love those stories.
Isn't it cool? But she relied on the kindness of strangers. Wow. To donate milk to her, because anytime her baby got formula, she vomited. She could not tolerate. She tried every kind. So she had to just go around sourcing milk. And people love sharing their milk.
I think so, yeah.
They can give something back. It's very powerful.
Yeah, it's something that it's not like it doesn't cost you anything to give it, and you're helping somebody.
And it's unique. It's something that not everybody can do.
Right.
And there's only a specific time in your life when you can do this. So that's cool.
That's something about motherhood in general that I have to remind myself a lot. Like, this is only a specific time window within this process, because sometimes, when you're struggling with something and you're like Googling what to do and all, and sometimes I've realized in my 4 years as a mom, our kids are playing in there. Sometimes I've realized that like it'll just pass if I don't figure this phase out. It'll be over.
This too shall pass. All the hard stuff and all the good stuff.
Yeah.
The sweet babies grow up, all the good stuff, but all the hard stuff too.
Totally.
Yeah.
I feel like I could talk to Leigh Anne forever. We probably should do this again, because you're a wealth of information and you're entertaining.
Well, I love discussing all this.
That's awesome.
I love mothers. I love babies.
I know. But we have to go, because all of our children, Valisa's, mine, and Leigh Anne's, are all in separate rooms playing because they're being good.
And just mothers does that make us if we've neglected them?
I don't think they're neglected.
Oh, thank
they're
you.
old
Okay.
enough to play alone. It's just how long will that last without disaster ensuing?
Right.
Anyhow. But thank you, everybody, for watching. I forgot to mention we do have a giveaway this week of nursing tea. So if you are in need of some nursing tea, there will be a link in the video description to enter, or you can leave us a comment about something about nursing. And we have 2 screenings coming up, coincidentally, on the same day in LA and Philadelphia. So if you are in LA on October 18th, you can see Slummy Mummy at the LA Femme International Film Festival. Or if you are in Philadelphia on October 18th, you can see Double Leche, which is our series about funny and awkward moments in breastfeeding, at the First Glance Film Festival. And there are links for those. So, yay. Yay. Thanks for talking to us from Brooklyn, V.
All right. I'll see you later.
Cool. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers. Okay. Cool.
That was so
It
fast.
was so fast.